So, as 2022 rolls around and we contemplate how fast 2021 went by, maybe you're thinking about making your New Year's resolution a creative one, and maybe you finally want to start that podcast journey. Well, if so, I can walk you through what I do through the editing process to maybe help you lessen the intimidation of editing a podcast. Recording is the easy part. Sitting through an hour of content and then making it aesthetically pleasing is the difficult part. Or I should say difficult part because it's not hard, it just takes a long time. I remember when I was back in college, I had this podcast and the ways I was editing were not the smartest. It took me forever to edit that. It was such a bad way to do it. It was so bad. So from what I've learned since then, I'd like to offer my guidance to you. And maybe it'll give you a few ideas to help you make that New Year's resolution stick. So let's hop over into Premiere and I'll show you how the whole process goes. Dumbed down, that is. I'm not gonna show you the entirety of it because it doesn't take that long, but it's still, I'm not gonna show you a 30-minute video. Anyways, let's jump over there. So this is my final project here. This is the podcast itself. You can see all the different edits and everything nested and even the intro I have dedicated to it. So step one, what I typically do, I'll do it over here, is I grab all of the files from the recording. Or I can get rid of the other ones because they're just duplicates. Drag them over on top of each other, and we got both of them together. I use Zencastr, which records simultaneously and locally on each computer, and then when you're done, you stop the recording. It puts everything in their kind of cloud server so that you can just download it off of there, and then everything's kind of synced up as is because they all start the same time, they all end the same time. I think it's like a couple frames off. Let's zoom in and see. Ooh, not even. Uh-oh. Is this one a good one? Oh, no. Nope, I was right. It's like a couple frames off. Nice. So maybe I'll just make it only a frame off. Next, what I'll do is I'll bring our format over here. I got a background that I like to use for this that we designed. It's green screen, so what I can do is I go to Effects, go to Alt key, drag it in, and then I choose the green, and there we go. Then from there, what I'll do is I will crop everybody a little bit. So I'll take her this way, make her kind of centered, crop it out, boom. Then we have her, and then I'll drag me over here. Then we got me. I am not color corrected because I shoot an S-Log for some reason. The real color correction, let's try this one. Boom. All right, cool. Looks good. All right, next I have a sequence of other logos and such that I bring in, but I've kind of made them all already. So what I'll do is, like, starting from scratch, you're gonna have to make this stuff, but I have a couple transitions that I sit with. Play this, and then it fades out. It's pretty cool. I enjoy it. Got some music on in the background. It's a good time. I should probably be able to hear this though. It's probably a good idea. Cans are on. So from there, I have a bunch of backgrounds and such that I use behind. What I like to do is I use rough and edges to make it rounded a little bit, round it out. Makes it a little more aesthetic, and then I'll throw a drop shadow behind it to kind of push it forward. So I do this with every single one, and now that I already did it, all I have to do is copy it, and then you paste the attributes, and then you do that. And then each of your things has that. And then I go in and like do like a little highlight at the beginning where I just, talk about them a little bit and give a little context to who they are. And in there, it's just a couple videos that I pulled with some transitions. And these transitions I get from Storyblocks. The specific transition I have it's called Seamless Transition, Any Resolution Premiere Pro. And you just drag the Seamless Transition Any Resolution Premiere Pro project into here, and it will start importing all of the stuff from the folders. And I use the simple zoom in, zoom out. I think that's what it is. So it goes in and right back out. One of the cleaner ones that I've seen. So not all of them work for some reason. So we got logos, we got the episode, which each time what I do is, just to give you a little heads up, each time I start a new one, since I already created it, what you can do is you can go find that element and you can right click on it and replace footage. So if I were to have a different one, so here, if I want to go back and do number 5, I have the 5th one right here. So if I replace it, it changes it there. And then I have some name tags that I have that also do the same thing. They're just green screened here, and then I key them out and then throw a drop shadow on them to kind of make them pop a little bit. And then have a little stinger that I also got from Storyblocks. It's the sound here, so let's solo these out. And then I slowly let it sit there and then let it fade out kind of so that it's not as distracting of a jump. Now, some people don't even like an intro for their podcasts. So if you're somebody that just wants to jump right into it, then by all means, jump right into it. And all of this meant nothing. But moving forward, what I like to do is once I get this kind of situated with all the little elements and whatnot, I then move on to the actual listening through the podcast itself. Now, my podcasts, thankfully, are only like 45 minutes to an hour, which is just very nice. That takes 20 minutes because I do this. I watch everything at ×2 speed. And to do that, I don't know if you know, but if you hit the space bar or to start playing it, and then you hit the L key, it'll make it faster.
In the past, when I would explain someone my job, they're like, wait, what do you do? You can make money doing that? How does that happen?
It's not too fast that it's distracting or like you can't understand it, but it is fast enough that, you can chug through an entire edit in half the time, which is very nice, especially for podcasts, because there's not a lot, at least from my perspective, not a lot of editing that goes down unless you genuinely make a mistake or you guys stop the stream or stop the recording at some point. So just sitting through, and if there was a point where, I think there was a point later in this, and I'll see the edit here. I think it's this one. Yeah.
No. Anyway.
You're a pain in the ass. Anyways,
It's the only edit I think I have throughout this entire thing. So, and I think it's because she had to leave to go close a door or something. So I was like, it's just like, let's just get rid of that. And then after I sift through the entire thing, I start the music back up. And then I throw the logo sequence again at the end so that it's just like a nice little ending to it. And then that's it. That's our podcast. That's kind of how I go about doing it at this point. So once you get your whole sequence done, I use a lot of keyframing, especially for the logos and such. So let me jump into one of these guys. So as you can see, it moves. It gets a little bit bigger as the time goes on. And then once it gets to where I want it to sit, and then the logo hits, and then they both go. As you can see at the end there, it starts to move a little bit. So with that, I have it coupled together. Also with drop shadows and such to kind of make it a little more 3D. And then use my handy dandy transitions, these guys. If you watch any of my videos, you know they're like the only ones that I use because they're the cleanest ones. I like them a lot. It just makes it feel a little more professional. Just like you put a little bit of effort into it. But then to move forward, what I do is we make shorts of all of this. We take stuff so that we can promote on other social medias, repurpose the content. So I will do one last sit through of the podcast. As you see all of these markers that are here, and to set a marker, if you're listening through, just hit M and it'll put it on there. But if you're not selected on a thing, it'll put it up here. On when I beam my thing is like if you're not selected on a video in the timeline or such, it will just put it on the actual timeline itself. So then I can go back and find those different areas that have highlighted sections. So as you can see here, I made the edits here, and this became a highlight as well as this one. And then I shorten it down to a minute, edit it out a little bit, make it a little bit cleaner, as you can see here. And then typically what I'll do is, if I go to sequence 1, I make it vertical because we're going to be promoting to social medias such as TikTok and Instagram Reels anyways, so they need to be vertical. So that's where I go with it. And then once I have that situated, I only usually use one person's video at a time, and I also have another one of these formats. So let me find that one. So this vertical format here, it just looks like this, and then I alter key it out. Alter key that, and then we got it over top. And then I throw the ending as well on this. But everything is rotated 90 degrees. And my goal for all of these shorts or these little highlights are to pull out something that's a little more shareable, I guess, or something that kind of gives a hint at something in it of itself. So it can stand alone as a little bit of a tip or something from the podcast. And then it also could just intrigue people to listen more if they got some good information from it. I personally think that these different sections are pretty useful or helpful, especially with the knowledge or information that's being given. So if people find that interesting or fun, then hopefully it'll incentivize them to go actually listen to the full podcast. So then going from there, I export these and bring them over to Type Studio. Type Studio allows me to add subtitles to them really quickly. So let me find the podcast. And here are the 2 highlights. I have them exported, so let me just do one. So I start a new project. I grab highlight number 1, drag it in, let it upload in, let it transcribe real quick. All right, so once we get into the editor itself, here's what I do is I listen through and I make sure that all of the dialogue is transcribed correctly because it's gonna be transferred into the subtitles. So I just give it one listen through and make any edits that it needs. It's usually not too many, like 1 or 2, and it's usually pretty good, which is why I like using this. So right here, I would need to change that to get rid of that. And so I just hit the period key so that it just makes the quick changes. You can do that with commas or any punctuation actually. Also, just for a side note, to edit a word, what you do is you can either double click on it and it'll turn it to editing mode where you can make changes like things to do, and then that will show up in the subtitles later. You can also enter in and out, and I'll show you what it looks like after it's done with the subtitles. Also, as a nice little hint, there's if you push the H key, it gives you all of the shortcut keys that you can use. Nice. Okay, so once all of that's done, I click subtitles, I add those subtitles, and then they pop up right down here, and then I make them a little bit bigger, and then you can change the font. I think it knows that I like Montserrat now because I choose it every time, so there's that. The background is set to white, and I make it a little bit transparent, just because, I don't know, I like the style of that. Put it kind of to the middle, because you know when you post to Instagram Reels or TikTok, there's that little section that has the title of the video and any like description, so you want to be a little bit above that, so I go a little bit above it. And then now, actually, I can show you. So if I go to Things, and then Enter, Enter, it shows it up in the subtitles themselves, so you can put little messages to people if that's what you want to do. You can have fun with it. Either way, once that's all good and done and dandy, I go to export and I download this video. But first, I usually get the SRT file because if I post this to YouTube, YouTube likes SRT files for the subtitles. SRT is subtitle file. So I'll download that and then go to video and then download the video, and it will start rendering out so that I can download it on the sharing page. All right, so here on the sharing page, you're just gonna click this button right here to download the video, and it'll download right onto your computer. You can also watch it back if you want.
The fastest is to really like pick.
Just to make sure everything looks exactly how you want it. You probably should do that before you start downloading so you don't accidentally download a file onto your computer that you don't need. Also, if you want, there's other options. The SRT file, the VTT file, and the text files are all able to be downloaded here as well. But then I just take those and I post them onto YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and to do that I put them into Google Drive and then download them onto my phone and then post it from there. But either way, that's from start to finish of how I edit a podcast now. Podcast. Who am I? Why did I say it like that? Anyways, I hope this video was a little bit helpful. I think the toughest part is starting it and knowing that like the second one won't be that bad. Once you get the creative element of creating your intros and outros and music and getting that all situated, a lot of it after the fact is just copy paste and taking elements from the first one and just implementing them into the second one and using those little shortcuts to like replace footage or synchronize things, which you can also do. Makes the whole process a heck of a lot easier. And I can edit a podcast in like an hour or 2. And it's very nice when you have an hour of footage that you have to go through and you can edit that in exactly the same amount of time. It's very nice and not as off-putting as it is like the first time. But so with that being said, if you enjoyed the video and it was helpful, I would appreciate if you hit that like button and consider subscribing for more content like this. If you'd like to watch another video from our channel, you can click here. If you'd like to listen to this podcast itself, I think that's the one that's going to be linked. Click here. It's our latest one. But either way, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you and your podcast later and in the next video. Bye.